with the lowest of the low. You see the shy to see these locally. So then I struggle socially and academic, feeling my life is pathetic, totally invisible. So when an outer world entity came down to earth and then made us his enemy, I was a sacrifice, knew it was destiny. Laid down my life a grenade as my weaponry. But this creature is too strong. Score people into why what they did's wrong. So this aliens teach us sailors bring it on. Through his talents and his dollars made us feel like we belong. I got power, never realizing deprecation. Needed someone who's proficient in my education. This appreciation for my talent, sales and my curation of a bond we share across a class and across a nation.
Feel the wavelengths of your conscious mind. I'll find my own way out. Through the pain of mine, I'm redefining, trying to take you down.
One breath, calm.
The time is now.
One step, armed.
There's no way out.
Your sweat runs.
Look what I found.
You're dead, gone.
I'll take you down. I'll take you down.
Striking at the vital points, committed to the killing, so I'm ending it with one strike. Over like a cobra, so then now the battle's over when you feel the tip of my knife. Headed in a second, cause I'm leaving people begging when you come to touch with these facts. Unassuming as a person, and my feelings have been looking as a surprise when I clap back. Born as a husk, body my mother could do what she wants. Living vicariously through all my thoughts. Hated my gender, it wasn't enough. Abuse that I suffered, my father left me. I was a puppet for my mother, had discovered a side of me that is moving up to bother. Since I was standing for myself, so I started to recover. Snap back with a stone clap strike. Venom in my spirit, cause I'm stinging like a viper. Sniper, cultivated for my senses passion. Now I'm springing into action better than a trained assassin like. Got the skills to leave them dead, catch them by surprise like a bullet in the head. Got the abilities that be filling them with dread, but I'm gonna make a choice and become a teacher instead.
Feel the wavelengths of your conscious mind. I'll find my own way out. Through the pain of mine, I'm redefining, trying to take you down.
One breath, calm.
The time is now.
One step, armed.
There's no way out.
Your sweat runs.
Look what I found.
You're dead, gone.
I'll take you down. I'll take you down.
Striking at the vital points, committed to the killing, so I'm ending it with one strike. Over like a cobra, so then now the battle's over when you feel the tip of my knife. Headed in a second, cause I'm leaving people begging when you come to touch with these facts. Unassuming as a person, and my feelings have been looking as a surprise when I clap back. I'm a delinquent, you're a cut class, but I'm not bad. Bringing impeccable logic, I got it all up in my cranium, and now my will for victory is stronger than titanium. I was betrayed by my teachers, it was not fair, so I don't care either. Dealer, card from the hand of fate. When a teacher appears, I can assassinate. Battle with trickery, hitting quickly, but missing these. Though I got the infinity, but the teachers consistently dodging bullets and pellets. Got a weakness, I get it. Watch as I step in and jump right off of the cliff and I'm better. He's overzealous and wanted to see the lines of his students. He's moving and smooth, and I'm used as a loser, and I failed this once, but let's make it clear. I'm gonna kill my teacher by the end of the year.
Thrill of the kill as the clock ticks down. I'm getting chills, it's the final round. I've got a plan of action, and it's all set to go. I'm feeling no compassion when I get in the zone.
My intellect is the top of the class. Acid and jealous cause he's straight saying gas about how we are nothing and we ain't gonna pass. But we ain't gonna stand here and take it. We as a class have the skills, we can make it. Now I have failed, I know how to rebel, so I sail through the ceiling up high when I break it. Training assassination, I'm facing all my creatures. Lay with the foundation of patience just like the geezer. I said I meant to let you raise in case I wouldn't beat you, but in time of graduation, broken my demeanor. Keener, when I'm in the squad, I'm smart, I see ya. Hit it and I pop that armor. I'm the main course when you're done with your starters. Everybody get what they deserve, that's karma.
Thrill of the kill as the clock ticks down. I'm getting chills, it's the final round. I've got a plan of action, and it's all set to go. I'm feeling no compassion when I get in the zone.
Helios, be on your way.
I'm just a nobody, class 3E with the lowest of the low. You see the...
Wait and see. When I exact my price, I'm making you the day you were born.
I told you. Grace would repay you soon.
Trying to trick me again. You leave me no options. Give me the commercial authority or you will be taken to Helios.
God. This inn used to be my property. Though it's under Calcium as of now. Isabel won't be holding your head high for long.
What are you waiting for? Are you with Bobby Lauren?
Isabel won't be holding your head high for long. Calcium. Isabel won't be holding your head high for long. Calcium. Those scoundrels. Isabel won't be holding your head high for long.
Count the seconds. To me you all look like peasants. Power, endless. Hoping you followed your lesson. Jiha, legend. You do not understand pain. You cannot even imagine my brain. Running a mile a minute. I feel it. I'm asking the questions that drive me insane. What do I say? I'll make you pay. Me, my brother, but I will not play. Night I will slay. Out on my way. I am the predator. You are the prey. Ay, ready for the battle that will start soon. Ay, stronger than I've killed a Richimaru. Ay, do you know the choices I've gone through? Ay, cause I'm sick of Danza and his Zambu. Ay, do what I want to. You may be shouting, but I can't respond to meaningless words. You're so absurd. Think I was stuck cause of thoughts you've clung to. I am not done. You coming right at me. Thought it was over when I killed Itachi, but it felt badly that he was actually working for Konoha, living in agony. I know I gotta be the one to end this. I am just a vessel full of vengeance, hoping that you quiver at my entrance. You will feel my fury is relentless. No, I bring you in my presence, seeking vengeance. Now I've decided your sentence. Count the seconds. To me you all look like peasants. Power, endless. Hoping you followed your lesson. Jiha, legend. No, I bring you in my presence, seeking vengeance. Now I've decided your sentence. Count the seconds. To me you all look like peasants. Power, endless. Hoping you followed your lesson. Jiha, legend. This is your final fight. You're gonna die tonight. Looks like your comrades are dead and gone. Exploding like dynamite, feeling the serpents bite. Open my eyes for the Sharingan. Won't be long. Gonna close the book, take a look at my story. Done. Cause I'm strong. Now you're feeling shook cause you took my Chidori. Run. Losing my ninja, it's difficult to submit to qualify my desire. Pumping through my body, gasoline. Got into your attention of the nation that continues aiming high. You retire if you ever did a battle me. I've got the chilling aura that for sure will rattle bones. If you're so obsessed with me, stop messing with me, Naruto. My job was sharp, yeah, showing my ability to use my key to stop ya. Slice you down, watch up, yeah. Cause I got ya. Now I fight is over and I've already forgot ya. Your chances of victory narrow. No way you're missing my injuries. Arrow in the barrel. Never do it halfway. Proud of my name, Uchiha Sasuke. No, I bring you in my presence, seeking vengeance. Now I've decided your sentence. Count the seconds. To me you all look like peasants. Power, endless. Hoping you followed your lesson. Jiha, legend. No, I bring you in my presence, seeking vengeance. Now I've decided your sentence. Count the seconds. To me you all look like peasants. Power, endless. Hoping you followed your lesson. Jiha, legend. I'm the OG, ain't nobody be messing with me. My legacy echoes the centuries, mention my name, the Hokage, the founder of the hidden leaf. Up in the heat, wound release, healing my wounds, I can never be beat. Victory easily work like machinery, meeting the god of the shinobi. I grew up fighting, but working my way to peace. You grew up fighting make a stance of 1,000 hands. Absorbing your sugar, I'm on your regret and you came home. Disowned by people, your people compared to my stage mode. Repping my squad, finding the gate of the great god. Bound to show you what the 7 Hokages are made of. Hashirama, man, that's the toughest act to follow. Second Hokage of Konoha, yeah, it's Tobirama. Test my will of fire, then I summon dragon water on ya. I don't call the cops and ninjas, I'm just hiring all Uchihas. Damn, I don't like those ninjas cursing, say we're babies. But look, I got one as a student for diversity training. Don't mean to sound like a ninja's bud. Myra, Obito, Itachi, Sasuke, certain on exterminating. Surely I ain't hating anyway. See how that fast ninja blind rides into your head on top to everything you knew. I mean, it's how much I come to be trying to fool us soon. Now I'm mentally okay, but that's a woman rising. Then and then I kill again, cause they know that I'm the coolest. And then I'm back in paradise, infinitely slice Suzuna.
Call me Sakutobi, brought up by the Gachinobi, then became the 3rd Hokage. That's how history will show me. Gotta keep an eye on the people, just like Danzo. Yeah, I got that ninjutsu, but I still give you combos. Orochimaru came back to the village just to make a statement, so I had to take the 1st and 2nd when reanimated. 3-on-1, man, this fight is harder every minute. Master Orochimaru said if I was younger, I would kick his out. You ain't never see me in my prime, mate. Summoned up the monkey king to hit you with this primate.
So one of the biggest highlights of Black Desert Online is its combat, but it only gets better once you awaken. Now when you awaken, you unlock a whole new set of skills and a new weapon to make your character a lot more badass than what it already is. For example, the wizard goes from a staff to a god sphere, and the ninja goes from a short sword to katanas. And because of this, makes grinding so much more worth it. So to unlock these awakening weapons, you just need to be level 56, and once you are level 56, you will get a mission from the Black Spirit to awaken. Now I know what you guys are thinking. If it is that simple to awaken, then why do you have to make a complete video about it? Well, that is because I'm going to be giving you guys tips on how to complete the quest, because it is very tedious and a lot more challenging to complete, especially when it's your first time doing it. So first things first, you want to accept the quest from your Black Spirit, and it'll be the one that says your class type and then awakening. It should be noted that you don't need to complete any missions before the mission unlocks, except the tutorial missions you get when you first start playing. Now when you accept the mission, you'll be assigned to go to an NPC. So for me, since I'm doing a wizard, I'll be meeting with Edward near Calvin. Other classes in Ninja, you'll have to meet someone in Altaloba, and so on and so forth. And when you talk to them, they will assign you 3 missions. One of them will be to kill 3 wilderness golems, another will be to kill 100 ancient weapons, and the last one will be to kill enemies at Marnie's second lab. Everyone's test for awakening will be the same, so you don't have to worry about looking at other awakening guides for specific characters. So with that out of the way, the first mission I will go through in this guide are killing 3 wilderness golems. For many people, including myself, the wilderness golems are probably the first enemy that is actually challenging. They stun you and do a hell of a lot of damage. So to give you an idea of my gear score when I'm fighting the golems, I only have 121 AP and 134 DP on my wizard. With that said, I would recommend having a lot of health potions. So when you fight the golems, you really just need to be good at dodging. The golems are pretty predictable when you get the hang of it. When the golem inserts its arms into the ground, that is when you know it will launch its ground attacks that do a ton of damage. So just double tap your direction keys to the left or right to evade it like so. But just know that if you do get hit, it will stun you and hurt you quite a bit. And that is what the health potions are for. But after you have dodged everything, hit the golem with your AoE or pretty strong hitting move, and then make sure to back away right after. And you do the same when it rolls towards you to evade it, to hit it, but make sure to take notice of the golem's corners at all time, and to not stay near it too long after an attack. It took me about 4 minutes to kill 1 golem, pretty much rinse and repeat. However, to make things easier, you could just ask the super chat, but they're only so helpful, and
North American servers that I play on, they're pretty handsome. So moving on to the next mission, you'll need to kill 100 ancient weapons. And these are like mini golems. They can be hard hitters but aren't too painful to kill. And they have attacks that slow you down when running and can knock you out of doing your AoEs, so be mindful of that. But other than that, just make sure to have a lot of health potions. Now when you go to the last mission, you are on the second lab. This is pretty much RNG. So you have to kill the specified enemy, but the game will count that you killed the enemy if it wants to. Granted, you only have to kill 4 enemies, but it took me 10 minutes before the game actually granted me the kill. I honestly just did complete genocide by the time I completed this mission. But in any case, the only thing you need to be mindful of are the dinosaurs, because they're the ones that are dead. The rest, not so much. So I would recommend killing your objective enemies and completely ignoring the dinosaurs, because you don't have to kill them. So now, once RNG has granted you those kills, you have now completed all the awakening missions. And when you go back to talk to your NPC, they will grant you your awakening weapon. Once you acquire the awakening weapon, make sure to complete from the top to the left, because it can give you more skills. But after that, you're pretty much all set, and to be honest, I think this is a fair reward for grinding up to level 56. You become so much more of a badass. It's just a lot of fun. Anyways, I hope this video helped you guys out, and I will see you guys next time.
Hey guys, what's going on? Anders here with another video. This time I wanted to do a guide. It's been a while since I've done guides and I want to get back into it, and I figured I haven't really talked about the Pearl Shop very much. Making a guide for the Pearl Shop is a little weird, honestly, but it's very important, especially if you're a new player or thinking of starting the game. The Pearl Shop is a bit of an iffy subject for most people, the whole pay-to-win aspect, so I'm going to talk about that stuff. I'm going to be talking about the minimum purchases I feel like you need to buy to really enjoy the game in the beginning phases of the game, and then we're going to go through all the categories of the Pearl Shop and go over what is actually useful, what's worth your money, in my opinion of course, and what I guess would be considered pay-to-win in BDO. Now, since this is going to be a longer video, it's going to be a little bit more freeform. I wanted to get the more important stuff out of the way, so to begin with, we're going to talk about the minimum purchases that I think you have to make to really enjoy the game for what it has to offer, and then after that, we're going to talk about pay-to-win, get that shit over with, and then we'll go through what the rest of the store has to offer, just so if you're new, you just want to find out what's actually viable, you can just watch the beginning of the video. That'd be great too. Alright, enough of that. Let's get right into it. The minimum purchases I suggest is you need 5 pets in this game to really grind anywhere. So you get one for free, and there's 5 slots, so you have to buy 4. I recommend buying 4 cats or 4 dogs. They're going to be fine for most needs. They're slightly cheaper than most pets, but loot at the same rate. If you really want to go crazy min-maxing, I honestly would gift the game to 4 people or 4 trial accounts to get 3 polar bears and 1 hedgehog. They will run you $10 each instead of the $9 that the cats and dogs cost, but the polar bear and hedgehog effects are incredibly strong. Polar bears each give you additional weight capacity, and since pets are used by all your characters, it's a nice way to naturally have more weight on all your alts. And hedgehogs have a double gather proc skill that have a chance at multiplying the amount of loot you get from the gathering life skill. Even at tier 1, the hedgehog effect is really strong and greatly increases your income from gathering life skill. So that's the pets. That's about $40 you're going to be spending on pets, and then you want to buy 2 storage maids. Weight is going to be a pain after you get further into the game, so having these maids is going to be really useful. Each maid can be used once every 20 minutes, and you can transfer 1 weight of an item to and from the region's storage. The reason I recommend buying maids over directly getting weight on your character is simply because maids are family bound, which means all your alts can use them. And buying weight for a class is a mistake a lot of people make when they start out in the game. Being new, you have no idea what you want to play, so getting the maids will give you some breathing room until you eventually decide to be in a particular class. Even then, buying more storage maids is actually a pretty decent way to go if you are kind of like a person that doesn't want to stick to just one class, or maybe you're looking forward to classes coming in 6-7 months for your region. region. Important to note, you get one free maid by following the story quests, and you'll get to choose from a storage maid or a market maid. I would honestly just use that maid to get a market maid, as it will allow you to bid on market items while you're away from Ever Cities. It's really convenient, and you don't have to spend money. Just use the free maid to get the market maid, and you should be set with just one. So in total, you're going to be spending $64 to have what I consider the basic BDO experience. You absolutely can spend more, but spending the $64 from the start will lead you to gauge whether or not you want to keep playing after your initial 30 days are up. Now, some will argue value pack is needed, but honestly, I disagree. You get a month worth of value packs when you start the game, so save them from when you have a more established idea about what you want to do in the game. Spending money on value packs is not always necessary and will depend largely on how you want to make your money in BDO. The XP boosts it offers are negligible. The big thing is the market transaction income you can gain from it, but again, as a new player, you're not going to be selling things worth using a value pack for. The remote node investment is nice, but again, as a new player, your node empire is something you should start thinking about after you have an idea of how you want to play the game. Some people reach level 61 and then start thinking about their node empire and life skilling, so it really depends on what kind of player you are. But value pack is useful, but not for all styles of play. So now that we have the minimum amount of money you need to spend in the game out of the way, let's go into what the rest of the cash shop has to offer. Now, most of these things are really not needed, but will allow you to be more efficient with your playtime and allow you to progress faster than if you were to just ignore them. Now, is the cash shop pay to win? Yes it is, and now that we understand that, let's look at how it's pay to win. Now, Artisan Memory and Pets are, in my opinion, the most pay to win items in the cash shop. Artisan Memory, or Artisan Memes, as some people call it, allow you to repair items with 4 times the efficiency. Now, this is crucial when upgrading boss gear, since memory fragments, the items necessary to repair boss items, are not obtained in large quantities. They take time to gather, and Artisan Memories essentially cut down your time investment by a fourth of the time you would have spent otherwise. Now, if gathering 400 memory fragments took 4 days of playtime to achieve, you could spend $40 and gather 100 fragments in 1 day to get the same effect. So this is pay to win in the sense that it allows people with money to try for upgrades more often than those who do not pay. It is still possible to upgrade items without buying Artisan Memory. It just takes a lot longer. Now, the W in pay to win in BDO is fluid in the sense that your goals in this game will reflect what items may seem pay to win. You don't care that it takes you more time to get the same upgrade attempts as a pay to win player, then Artisan Memory does not affect you as hard. Pets are pay to win because there's simply no other way to increase your looting speed through in-game means. You need to buy 2 of the same species of pet and breed them to get a higher tier pet. Now, pets start at tier 1 when you purchase them. Breeding 2 tier 1 pets together produce 1 tier 2 pet. A tier 2 pet is the same speed as a tier 1 pet, so that's kind of useless. A tier 3 pet is faster, so you could try and breed a tier 2 and a tier 3 to get a tier 4, or if you're unlucky, you get another tier 2, so you kind of get migrated. So if you want to go for a tier 4 pet instead, you need to spend at least $40. That's 1 pet. That's 1 attempt. There are 5 pet slots, so you can kind of see how scummy the pet system is. If you somehow miraculously achieve tier 4 on your first try, that's at least $200 that you're spending on pets, if you're lucky. More if you're unlucky. So honestly, going past tier 3 is not recommended if you care about money. Even 5 tier 1 pets, which is what I consider the bare minimum, are not bad if you're starting out. It's when you start getting more powerful in your class as a character, and you start going to better grind spots, that you want to have better pets, because otherwise you're going to leave it behind and it's going to hit your income hard. But for the most part, you as a new player should not really worry about that for a long time, probably a couple months, a few months before you want to start thinking, okay, maybe spend some more money to try and get tier 3 pets. And even tier 3 pets, which is what I use, 5 tier 3s, are more than enough for 90% of the classes and spots in the game. You may not be 100% efficient, but it's actually not too bad. So that's what I think is the most pay-to-win aspect of the Pro Shop. There are other pay-to-win elements in the cash shop we're going to be going over with, but they're not as predatory as these 2, the Artisan Memories and Pets. So now that we went over the minimum requirements that you need to spend to have a good time, I guess, in BDO, and what the pay-to-win elements are. Let's go through the categories. So basically, when you spend money through the website or through Steam, you get Kakao Cash implemented into your account. What you then do is you go to the Pearl Box items in the Pearl Shop category, and you then buy the amount of pearl boxes that you want. So spending $60, for example, will give you a 6,000 pearl box that gives you 600 free pearls. So it's like $6 extra. So the more you spend, the more free monies, quote unquote, you get from the game. It's very common, pretty much how all boxes like this work in pretty much every other game. Below that, you have the loyalties tab. Loyalties, you get 100 loyalties every day just for logging in at reset, and you can then use that loyalty in this shop. It's pretty good. Best thing about it is the weight. You can buy up to 200 weight worth of loyalty, but they will cost you about 140 days worth of playtime, less if you're a new player, and because you get loyalty bonuses for playing 10 days straight, 30 days straight, 60 days straight, stuff like that. The next best thing I think that you should be spending loyalty on is honestly the inventory or the storage for the town storage. 500 loyalty for one slot, it's not too bad. 1,000 loyalty, so 10 days worth for one inventory slot, again, not too bad. There's a value pack for one day, so if you are someone that doesn't really sell often, but say you cook a lot, then you accumulate a bunch of items that you want to sell. That what you do is you buy the value pack through the loyalty shop. It costs 1,400 loyalty, which is 2 weeks worth of loyalty. So you just sell all your stuff, and when you're ready to pick up your sold goods, you pop the loyalty value pack, then you get all your money from the marketplace. Pretty easy. I know that's how a lot of people play the game. They basically just sell high value items and then keep it at the marketplace until they're ready to pick up once they have enough for a loyalty pack, and that's pretty much it. Everything else is kind of up to you, I guess. The character slot expansion is decent, but it's 50 days worth, and the slots aren't that expensive to begin with, so I don't really recommend spending 50 days worth of loyalty on that. Not that good, in my opinion. The Blessing of Count Sylvia is actually pretty decent too. It's 1,000, so it's 10 days worth, and this gives you energy recovery +2 and more drop chance. So this is really good if you want to spend an entire day gathering or life skilling. Otherwise, not worth your loyalty, to be honest. You can see that there's also artisan memories for loyalty, so it's 4 days worth for one artisan memory. You may think, okay, not too bad, right? Because artisan memories are pay to win, but it's also in the loyalty shop, so it can't be that bad. It's actually pretty bad. One artisan memory in real currency costs about 50 cents, but this is 4 days worth for the same. It's not a good trade-off. What you want to do is just not spend your loyalty on artisan memories. Unless you really need to for whatever reason, I wouldn't do it. I've done it and it feels bad, but not recommended. The only other thing I would maybe use is the Patrigio's costume bag, which is 2,800 loyalty. That's 28 days worth of playtime. What this does is that essentially
in this video, I will show you how to power level from level 1 to 56 in Black Desert Online in 5 hours or less. Now let's get it. What's going on? I'm Oz99, and if this is your first time here, then subscribe and hit that bell icon for more videos on BDO. Before we get into the method that I use personally, and I noticed that it works really efficiently, there are a few things you must have before even attempting this method. A +15 weapon for the class that you're going to be leveling up will be your first priority, which can be easily purchased at the marketplace for about 15 to 17 million silver. If silver is something you struggle with, then check out my last video on how to make money in BDO in the card above. It will basically cover everything you need to know to make a quick 16 to 17 million silver so you can purchase that +15 weapon. Once you have your weapon, you want to make sure you have your daily buffs ready as well, and any other necessary buffs as well. So for example, you will need the 2 buffs, which are dailies, Daily Blood Frenzy and Faster and Stronger.
They're basically going to be used towards the end when you're trying to level from 55 to 56, but they're super important. They're going to make the grinding process a lot easier. You're also going to want to make sure you use extra convex XP scrolls. They actually can be attained through completing story missions or the Pearl Shop, but I only got mine from story missions because I'm not really about to spend real money for some XP, at least not now. And depending on how many you have, you're going to want to keep this buff on as much as possible. It's just an easy 50% extra on your XP gain. And don't forget about your Black Spirit buff, which gives you 20% XP for 30 minutes. This buff can be used as often as your energy can regenerate, because it does use 50 energy per use. Now, the other 2 XP boosts you may want to utilize are the XP bells that are popped by players at random times, and the nighttime XP that happens from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. in game time. These are pretty situational and should only be focused on once you're getting towards level 56, because that's when you're going to need all the XP boosts that you can get to make the last level feel less like a huge and miserable grind. And that's really all you're going to need to make the level up process as smooth and fast as possible. Some of the boosts you really don't need or don't really have to prioritize, but it does help. But the plus 15 weapon is pretty much mandatory if you're going to want to replicate this method and actually survive and make it, you know, an easygoing time for yourself. Now, my method is pretty much simple, and I use this for literally every character that I have to level up. When you are first starting out, go through the story until you have finished the tutorial. You will know this once you are able to place a marker on the map using a right mouse button. Once you clear that, you are going to want to head to the Blood Monastery. Make sure you head to the top of the monastery where you'll find the bulk of the mobs to kill. You will probably want to grind here until about levels 35. From there, you'll want to move to Chimeras. This spot is perfect for grinding because all you have to do is start at the bottom of the hill and work your way up to the top. But don't forget about the 2 mobs hidden behind the trees. I recommend not going past the gate because the mobs there are actually too spaced out and just makes the grinding process longer than it should be. Once you reach level 45 or 46, depending on how you're feeling, you can now head to Catfish. Now be careful here because the mobs here do hit pretty hard. I do recommend using all the gold you accumulated through leveling up to this point to buy some plus 15 granule so you can be a little bit more tanky. You're going to be grinding here until you hit level 49. Once you reach 49, you will receive a quest from your Black Spirit. You must complete this quest in order to reach level 50. It takes about a minute or so to complete, plus the location is at Catfish, so in the end, everything works out. Once you completed this quest, you're going to want to head to Helms for your last 6 levels. Once you get to level 54 or 55, you're going to want to make sure you have all your buffs popped. But I will only do this though if you have a real smooth rotation going on and no one is contesting you. If this is happening, like someone's actually contesting you, then I would recommend going to Abandoned Iron Mines or Mains. But otherwise, I would try your best to stick with Helms if you can, because you can get your Azulas, and it's a really good spot to stack up some money if you're killing goblins at the same time. Now, let me know in the comment section below what class you guys are going to be leveling up. I'm actually really curious. And if this video helped you at all, then leave a like and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. I'm Ozzy, and I'm out.
So a few weeks ago I made a video talking about how I've recently returned to Black Desert. Since then I've had a lot of people send me messages that they've tried or want to try the game but can't quite understand how it works. Now usually I'm not one for making guides, but I'll make an exception for this game as it's extremely overwhelming as a new player. Before you even load up or install Black Desert, I strongly advise you go into this game with an open mind. This game isn't anything like World of Warcraft, Guild Wars 2 or any other MMO I can think of,
so the MMO knowledge you've already gotten from these games probably won't be of much use in Black Desert. The thing to bear in mind about this game is there's a lot to learn. Hopefully this guide will be able to teach you the most important stuff, but I'd advise just taking things slowly and learning each thing one at a time. So obviously the first thing you do when starting BDO is make a character. It's probably a good idea to spend some time making something you're happy with and picking a decent name, as it costs real money to change names and appearance. When it comes to class selection, I think it's best to check out the official Awakening videos for each class and pick something you think's just cool. After that, you load into the game, go through a very basic tutorial, and will probably be left feeling confused, unfamiliar, and quite overwhelmed. So first off, let's talk about the questing in Black Desert. Unlike most MMORPGs, the purpose of questing in Black Desert is not to level your character up in terms of experience. The only good way of leveling is simply from grinding mobs, which most of the time is a byproduct of questing anyway. This doesn't however mean you shouldn't quest, as the rewards they give you will help you out.
Hello, what is up guys? EvilDuoStorm here today, and back with another Black Desert video. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at my grinding location from levels 50 to 56. So a lot of people who watch the 56 through 61 leveling guides are like, well, how do I do 50 through 56 the fastest? And the answer is by grinding. This is by far the fastest way to do this. I'm going to show you all the different buffs I use, and then I'm literally just going to keep the recording going and show you how quickly you can actually hit 56 by using all these different buffs. But real quick, before we get into showing you all that, if you're new to the channel, new to Black Desert, and enjoy the content on the channel, please consider subscribing. It would mean a lot to me and would help to grow the channel. Without further ado, let's get into it, and let's start by taking a look at the different buffs I'll be applying during this. So if I open up my inventory, I have a few of them already sitting in here. The first is the Simple Cron Meal. The Simple Cron Meal gives you a combat EXP boost of 20% and a skill EXP boost of 10%, plus 20 AP against monsters. This is a nice little bonus. So that is the Simple Cron Meal. Don't pick one of the other ones, go Simple Cron Meal. Next is going to be a Blessed Message Scroll. These are rewarded for different events or different activities throughout the game, and they give you 200% combat EXP buff plus a skill 30% EXP buff. Next I have what I like to call my Leveling Helmet. My Leveling Helmet has two...
Hello and welcome to another Tim Allen 1337 guide, where today we're going to be doing the official Black Desert guide on leveling from 1 to 56. This is going to be a quick overview for people who are new to the game, but keep in mind this is a sandbox game. You're welcome to just go out and grind mobs. You can see what level the mobs are on the map at level 2, but there's some great rewards for doing the main quest line, so let's dig into that. As I quickly create my character, please note the different channels. This game happens on a one region server, so these channels are all just different instances. You can swap between them whenever you'd like, so you can always catch your friends or hunt down your enemies. Just note that if you're over level 50 on the Arsha server, you can freely PvP with no penalty, so be prepared to defend yourself. For first time players, I really suggest you guys take your time with this game. I've been playing it for over 3 years on PC and since beta on Xbox. And the biggest mistake I see people make over and over again is rushing through it and burning out. This is a marathon, not a sprint. You're not behind because you're starting a few months behind the rest of us. You will catch up, and you'll have every opportunity to surpass anyone's gear, if you stay consistent. To that end, enjoy the quests, and make sure you do all these opening quests throughout the game. It will take you to level-appropriate grind mobs, and give you gear upgrades along the way. The main quest line is fairly obvious, and marked with a little black spirit symbol to the side. The quest menu has nearly every quest in the game marked, and can help you keep track of which ones are dailies, main quests, and even has a list of suggested quests, all organized in order. If you're ever lost, just check out your quest menu. So follow this opening quest line until its completion, but feel free to explore and complete side quests as well. Also keep in mind that completing the main quest line will provide you with free inventory slots for each character you complete it with. Early into the quest line, you'll find yourself heading to a city named Heidel. Here lives a veteran and expert arms dealer named Ornella, who has her own private labeled weapons perfect for new adventurers like you. However, Ornella has made quite the name for herself, and it may take you quite some time to be able to afford them, but I promise it's worth it. Eventually the main quest line will end, and leave you in the Calpheon area around level 50 to 53. I highly suggest you spend some time in these grind areas specifically, as they'll provide you with gear that you need to move on to the next area. There's one armor and one accessory that drops from each area. Once you grab what you need, you'll be ready to move on. Please note, if you need to grind additional time to get to level 55, I suggest you spend some time in Hex Sanctuary. It might be busy, but the Witch's Earrings, Ancient Relic Shards, and Heat Armor that drop there are all very valuable, especially early on in the game. Another tip, as you collect Blackstone armors or weapons, or if you happen to have any Sharps or Hard Crystal Shards, please do not sell or delete these. Store them. You'll want to have the option to enhance your own gear. These items aren't really rare per se, but you need a large quantity of them, and the prices add up quickly. So just hold on to them for now, you can always sell them later. Now that you have your free blue gear, and you just hit level 55, you're ready to go visit an NPC named Kona in Alta Nova. He will start a quest chain for you for a weapon that'll be a large upgrade known as the Black Abyssal weapon. If you have any friends or guildmates in the game, you'll probably need their help at the end of this quest line. If not, just ask in channel chat or head over to the Black Desert official Discord. I'm sure somebody there would be more than happy to help you out. The final step to get to level 56, which activates your awakening weapon and skills, is to grind these Medaya areas for the next level of accessories called the Sulas. You'll likely be using these accessories for a while, so it's important to grab them all. Once you collect them and get to level 56, you should have the gear to be able to move on to the Valencia grind areas like Noggin's, where the XP will go much quicker, especially with your awakening. That's it for this video, and a huge thanks again to Pearl Abyss for sponsoring the creation of this video. Please take a moment to go through my other videos on enhancement, node system, workers, and a bunch of other topics. Feel free to drop questions in the comments, I'll be happy to answer them, and please click the subscribe button. This game is constantly updating, and I want to keep you guys in the know. Have an excellent day, and I'll catch you next time.
Now out for PS4 officially, the game going strong on Xbox One and of course still on PC. I thought it would be a good time to release a video with a little bit of knowledge on how to play BDO from a mentality perspective. This is a numbered list of 1 to 5 with no particular order of importance about things I wish I knew before playing BDO or stuff I wish people had told me. First up, marathon, not a sprint. You're going to hear this one from people all the time. This game is a marathon, not a sprint. This sounds like obvious, pretty useless information, but it really is something you always need to bear in mind when making decisions revolving around BDO as a game, whether that be buying cash shop items when they're not on sale but not super critical to what you're doing, tapping and enhance just because you can, YOLO spending all your silver on something that is at a market high, grinding for a long-term goal as fast as possible. They're just a few examples of things that you can apply this general saying to. I know in the moment it's easier said than done. Personally, I can say this to myself constantly and still fall victim to doing some of them and then massively regretting it. Ideally, for enhancing, you would only do so with backups, or when you're financially stable enough to just outright buy a suitable replacement. The logic here is pretty solid. If you have an item that is better currently than anything else you could afford to equip if you did lose it, or it went down a grade, then that means you will grind slower than before the fail, which means less money per hour. So we can assume farming with that current item at the current enhancement level is much more efficient, and then once we have a backup, go for it. It sounds super obvious, but it's serious when I say people, including myself, do this all the time, and it's an awful practice. Think about BDO like this. It's an MMORPG that has been out for 3.5 years in the West, give or take a couple months. Since then, aside from the first X months where plus 15 was the best enhancement level, Pen has been the best for a large portion of these months. Pen Kazaka nowadays is only marginally worse than the very best in slot item, and Kazaka has been here since the start. Most people would dream of having a Pen Kazaka because it's true endgame gear. I say that to say this, BDO gear progression has been at almost the same level of what is the best, or very close to the best, for a long time. It's an MMORPG with almost infinite progression because it's almost impossible as a non-whale player to get full pen besting slot gear. But on top of this, and before you for such a long time and haven't managed to rush to the end, you're not going to do it either. So just take your time and enjoy the journey. Taking breaks from the game. So having said